Hi there, sitting outside. It's a nice calm day. There's no wind blowing, so I thought I'd try a video. Had a couple questions recently about binoculars. We used to sell binoculars. We probably, over 20 years, we sold binoculars. Gave it up a few years ago when internet sales took over and we just didn't really feel like competing with that. So a lot of people still get confused with the numbers on binoculars. The common ones that you see first are like 8x40, probably more common now. I'm distracted by birds. Probably more common now are 8x42, 10x42, 10x50. I looked around the house today and I realized we actually don't have any 10 power binoculars. I never really was a big fan. So see if I can hold up a binocular here and if we can read the numbers. So there, should be able to read it, but I guess that's going to be backwards, is it? Anyway, it's a 8x42. So what the first number means is the magnification. It's how much closer objects will appear. So 8x42 objects will appear 8 times closer than they are with the naked eye. The 42, you can read it on the number, or you can actually measure the large lens, the objective lens, and that will be 42 millimeters across. The bigger the lens, the more light they let in. The higher the power, the less light they let in. So the amount of light coming through is referred to as the exit pupil, and that is something that you can see as well. See when you hold your binoculars up to your own eyes at arm's length, you'll see that little dot of light. And when you measure that with an 8x42, it's just slightly over 5 millimeters. I like 8x40s because I can do that math in my head easier. It's 5 millimeters. So when we first started, most binoculars were 7x35, 8x40, and 10x50. And they all gave you a 5 millimeter exit pupil, which is what most birders are looking for. Some people will say, oh, well, you can use 10x32s. And yeah, there are some good 10x32s made. They're just very expensive. In a mid-range, I call $200 to $300 binoculars mid-range, the 10x32 isn't going to be nearly as good as the 8x42. 10x32 is only a 3.2 millimeter exit pupil. So when you're testing these binoculars out in a very bright, well-lit store, you can't really appreciate the difference in them. The pupil in your eye constricts in the bright light, so that extra light's not getting in. If you can get outside in the dark, or find a dark corner and compare the two, I think maybe the reason why we sold so many binoculars is because we used to take people outdoors with them and even go in the woods. Like even on a bright day in the canopy in the woods, it's dim and you're going to want that extra light coming in. They are a little bit heavier, but not a lot. So these are the pair that I'm using mostly now, mostly because I dropped the other ones and I have to send them away for repair. So this pair is an 8x36. These are quite old. They don't make them anymore, and they don't make them like this anymore. So this 8x36 is probably quite a bit brighter than most 8x42s. So the other thing you saw there was the field of view at 6.5 degrees. I do like degrees. It's the angle from you out that you're seeing. A lot of binocular companies say feet at 1,000 yards, and people look at that thinking it has something to do with the power, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the power. It's the field of view. So if you were to step out 1,000 yards and measure across your field of view, that would be the number of feet that you're seeing at 1,000 yards. And you convert that by multiplying or dividing by 52.5. I will verify that. It's been a few years. I like to have them both in the same format. Nothing though compares to trying them out. What it says on them often isn't what you're getting. So in a store or whatever, pick a shelf, see how far across that shelf you're going to see with each pair, with your own eyes. Eyeglass wearers, if you leave your eyeglasses on, the farther away from your eye you hold your binoculars, the less of that field of view you're going to get. So that is referred to as eye relief. So it's in millimeters usually, I think always. So like 17 or 22 millimeter eye relief is how far away you can hold your binoculars from your eyes and still appreciate that full field of view. If they don't have a long eye relief, if you leave your glasses on, you won't appreciate it. So the field of view for birders, it's probably more important than for most things. Wider angle means when you see the bird and you put your binoculars up to your eyes, there's a much better chance of that bird being in the binoculars in the field. And when the birds go from branch to branch or take off quick, it's a lot easier to follow them if you have a wider angle. So if you do wear glasses, the Eyecups on the binoculars, you can turn them down, and that's what's broken on this one. So dial that down with your glasses on, and you might find, I think this one is click stopped, so you might want to find you go part way in between, and then with no glasses on, you would raise it all the way up. So this is the pair that has to go back for a repair. They're Vortex, lifetime no fault warranty. Gotta love that. I let my son use those. They're, I don't know, they're $600 or $700 binoculars. He used them when he was young. I didn't have to worry about them. These ones I kept to myself. They're quite a bit more fragile too. So we'll send them back. So these are old. The last Bosch & Lomb Customs that I sold had dial-up Eyecups, but these are quite old. So they have the rubber Eyecups that you fold over. I'm gonna set that down. And you fold that Eyecup down to use your glasses. I don't even know if they make them with rubber Eyecups anymore. Personally, I like them, but. So this is a pair that we bought and ended up giving them to my son. They are 6.5 by 32 Raptor, and these are an awesome binocular. Honestly, these for a while sold for probably $700. These are about $119. They're really good binoculars. Had them in the shop for quite a while. People looked through them, loved them, and as soon as they read that 6.5 power, no dice, wouldn't even think about it. They chose the, I think it was an 8.5 by 32. They didn't like it better, but they liked that extra power in the number. I'm not sure why. So when my son was probably 6 years old, we ended up giving them to him. They're excellent for kids. They come really close together, so they're good for his eyes. They're not too small. You don't want too small of binoculars for kids. They're big enough that he can grip, and he used to use them with his mittens on and everything. They're a nice binocular, and I use them a lot. I like them. I like going out with people with their $3,000 binoculars, and I got my $100 pair. So check out the close focusing on the binoculars. Often it'll say it on the box, especially if that's a bonus feature. If not, it might not say. So try it out. Focus them left or right, whichever way is the closest, and then see how, go to the ground or go to a shelf or whatever and back up and see how close you can focus. They should focus for birding at least 8 or 10 feet, if not closer. I like the ones that focus down to, I have a pair that focus to 4 feet. I can focus on my toes. They're great for butterflies or dragonflies, as well as you get into more nature watching. And a bird that lands really close and you have to, it's dark and you want to try to distinguish species. Your binoculars should be better than the naked eye in the dark. If they're not, you probably chose wrong. So what else do we say about binoculars? Keep it short. People on YouTube here have a short attention span. I don't think that's true. So these are roof prism binoculars. If you want to Google them, you'll see the schematic inside. The prisms are all fused together. The light comes in, the end, it goes straight through it, reflects off each of the prisms. I forget how many times, 5 I think. And they're fused together. So it's really hard to knock these out of alignment. These are called porro prisms. So the light comes in here, the one prism here reflects over here to another prism, and then goes into your eye. So these prisms are farther away, they're not fused, they're quite a bit easier to knock out of alignment. I know the customs, man, I sent more customs back for repair than all other binoculars combined. This 8x36 custom, they were a really popular binocular in the 90s and early 2000s. So a lot of people use them, a lot of people drop them. I have a pair that I dropped. They got to go back, but they are not covered under warranty, so I've been putting that one off. Hopefully that helped a little bit. I remember a few years ago, someone came in, they had a pair of 7x50s, and he had originally bought a pair of 7x35s and said they weren't powerful enough, so he went back to the store and he ended up picking up a pair of 7x50s. I don't know if he explained himself very well or what the deal was, but they're both 7 power, they're both exactly the same magnification. The 7x50s actually had a narrower field of view, and they were way heavy, way more heavy than the 7x35. Unfortunately, by this time he had used them and he couldn't return them. So the first number, the 7, 8, 10, I have never sold anything over a 10 power. People talk about 12 and 20 power binoculars, I guess maybe image stabilizers. But at that point, you're replacing your scope. It's not a binocular. So we'll cut it off there. We'll see if there's any interest in these videos. Next one I could do is spotting scopes and tripods. Tried a couple feeder videos, but it was windy out, so I could try that again on the right day. Until then, thank you.